Kai wakes up on a cruise ship. He's in a cabin in total darkness. He has only one matchstick. What should he light first? A newspaper, a candle, or a lamp? Kai should light the matchstick first. Kai leaves the cabin and walks down the hallway. To reach the deck, he needs to enter one of these 3 doors, but each passage has an obstacle. A huge venomous snake is crawling behind the first door. There's a kraken with creepy tentacles waiting behind the second door. And there's a hungry megalodon with sharp teeth behind the third door. What should Kai choose? Kai should pick the third door. Megalodon can't survive without water, so it's not dangerous anymore. Kai goes out on the open deck. He spots 4 weird details right away. Can you see them too? There's Saturn in the sky instead of the sun. This table doesn't have any legs. There's a hula hoop hanging on the deck instead of a life buoy. And this passenger's shadow doesn't match the reality. Kai is starving. He enters the ship's dining hall. Unfortunately, he missed dinner hours. The waiter says that they have only 3 meals left, but only one of them is safe to eat. Can you guess which one? Let's take a look at this pizza. Can you see these metal nuts among the topping ingredients? It's definitely not safe. As for this pudding, there's a spider stuck in it, so Kai should probably choose the sandwich. Kai looks around and sees 3 security guards having lunch, but one of them is actually a thief. Can you spot this person? It's the lady in the middle. Take a closer look at her hat. There's a fake logo on it. The star doesn't match the logo that the other 2 ladies are wearing. Also, she's wearing a fake uniform. Her clothes are underneath. Kai decides to follow the fake security guard. She enters the storage room and puts something inside a safe. Kai wants to find out what she's hiding there, so he waits until she leaves and tries to open the safe. But it's locked, so he needs to enter a 4-digit code. There's a clue in this room. Can you help Kai crack the code? Let's take a look at these 4 suitcases. The number of stripes on them implies the digits in the code, so the password is 3514. Kai opens the safe and finds 2 similar gemstones inside it. One of them is a real diamond, and another is a fake copy made from quartz. How can Kai quickly find out which diamond is real without using any special equipment? He should drop both gemstones into the water. Quartz will float and sink slower because it's less dense than the real diamond. Kai tells the ship's security guards about the thief and goes to his cabin. Suddenly, he sees his neighbor Molly in the corridor. She's very upset. What happened? Someone robbed my cabin while I was hanging out by the pool. They took all my jewelry. Kai explores the space and says, the thief must be your enemy. It's not a regular robbery. How did he know? Take a closer look at the mess. The thief opened the lipsticks and smeared them on the floor on purpose. Also, all the shampoo bottles are spilled, and Molly's dresses are torn. Why would an ordinary thief waste time on these things? Therefore, the criminal had an intention to cause as much damage as possible. Kai checks the cabin with a special ultraviolet flashlight. Can you help him spot 3 clues? Here they are. Kai goes for a walk around the deck, trying to find further clues. Can you spot a superhero around the passengers? Over here. Kai returns to his cabin. Can you find 3 emojis in this room? Ready to see the answer? Here they are. Kai can't find the key to his suitcase. Can you find it in this variety? It's over here. Kai goes to the local smoothie cafe to get some fresh juice. Can you spot 1 extra emoji on this image board? This cactus is the only inedible emoji here. Kai returns to his cabin and sees that someone drew a threat on his door. Kai looks around the hallway and finds 3 suspects. He questions them right away. What were you doing within the last 15 minutes? Sheila says, I was just taking selfies on the deck for my social media. And then I went to my cabin to put on another outfit. You can see it for yourself if you don't believe me. Lily says, I got sunburned in the morning, so I was just laying in my bed, eating and watching my favorite show. And Jean says, I just finished my workout in the gym, and I'd like to have a shower if you don't mind. Who's lying? Sheila, take a look at the dress in her selfies. It's the same outfit that she's wearing now. Therefore, her story is fake. The ship's security guards interrogate Sheila and check her bags. Can you see anything suspicious in her luggage? This shoe is clearly larger than all the others, and it doesn't have a pair, so she's probably hiding something inside it. The next morning, Kai wakes up very early and goes to the pool. It's almost empty. There's only one beautiful lady chilling on a sun lounger. Kai approaches her to introduce himself, but suddenly, he changes his mind. Why? There are 2 inflatable flamingos in the pool, and also 2 cocktails, one in the lady's hand, and another one probably belongs to her spouse, because she has a tan line on her ring finger. Kai decides to go to the dining area to have breakfast. Can you spot anything odd? What's wrong with this lamp? After breakfast, Kai goes to explore the ship and gets lost in its corridors. Can you figure out which path will lead him to the center? Only path C will actually lead Kai to the center. Kai enters the exit door, but there's another trap. The door slams shut behind him. He needs to enter a 4-digit code to open the combination lock and escape. Luckily, he finds a note with a hint. Can you figure out the code? To solve this mystery, we need to count the number of identical figures in this picture, and the code is 2463. Kai returns to his cabin after 3 hours of absence. Wow, there's a huge gift box on his bed. The card says it's from a secret admirer. Only 3 staff members had access to his cabin today. Kai questions them all. The repairman says, I entered your cabin 30 minutes ago to fix the sink. It's okay now. But anyways, I'm too broke to bring gifts to the passengers. The cleaning lady says, I entered your room about an hour ago to change the bed sheets and take out the trash, but I didn't see any gifts. And the manager says, I have a master key, but it's always in my pocket. Nobody warned me about any gift deliveries. Who's lying? The cleaning lady said she had taken out the trash, but the trash bin in Kai's cabin is full. And there are many flies around it, which probably means that it's not very fresh. So her story must be fake. Now, he's trapped on a deserted island. He only has a mirror and a piece of wood. What should he do to survive? Kai can use the mirror to reflect sunlight onto the wood, creating a signal fire so that the rescuers could find him. Miranda is a witch. She lives with her house elf Bubba in an old castle. The property's roof requires renovation. That's why Miranda hires 3 builders. She leaves Bubba with them and flies to the farmer's market. In the evening, Miranda returns and finds out that the builders have already fixed the roof and left. But someone stole the most powerful artifact from Miranda's library, an ancient snake statue. Bubba swears to have nothing to do with the robbery, and Miranda suspects the builders. Luckily, she has cameras around the castle. Take a look at the footage made in the morning and in the evening. Is it true that the thief is among the builders? This guy carried just one small tool in the morning, but the evening footage shows that he carried a large tool in his hand. Therefore, he must have hidden the stolen artifact in his briefcase. Miranda grabs her broom and flies to the thief's apartment to get her artifact back. He's not home, and Miranda decides to search the room. Can you help her find the artifact? It's in the oven. Miranda purchases a super rare and expensive orchid for her garden. Later that day, she throws a barbecue. The next morning, Miranda sees that the orchid is gone. It means that one of her guests is a thief, but they claim they didn't see the flower disappear. Miranda decides to visit and question 3 suspects. Lily says, "I've been attending your barbecue parties for years. It wasn't me. Why would I steal from my bestie?" Donna says, "How dare you? I'm not a thief. I'm allergic to all flowers. I'll never come to your party again." And Cassie says, "Oh, come on. Everyone knows that I'm super rich. I can afford to buy hundreds of orchids." Who's lying? Donna has flowers on the windows, which means that her story about the allergy is fake. The magic world is facing difficulties because the master wizard got sick. Miranda was chosen to carry out his duties. Her task is to separate magic school applicants between 2 faculties, good and evil. Here's the first candidate's profile. What do you say, good or bad? Leo is only 18 years old, but he says that he's been involved in charity projects for 20 years. Liar! Therefore, he should join the evil faculty. What about Luna? Is she a good witch or pure evil? Luna says she's never stayed in one country for more than a year. Therefore, she can't be cleaning her grandparents' house every day, so her story is fake, and she should go to the evil faculty too. Here's the next profile. What do you say? Seems like Olaf is a good guy. What about Helga? Does she seem good to you? Helga's story is fake. There's no monkeys in Antarctica. Evil. And here's the last profile. What do you say? Magnus didn't lie. Therefore, he can go to the good faculty. Miranda is giving a private potion class to Amber. They prepare a luck potion in a large cauldron. Suddenly, Miranda's phone rings and she goes out for 5 minutes to talk. 5 minutes later, Miranda returns and sees that Amber is under a love spell. Can you guess what happened here? Amber added this greenish ingredient to the cauldron and the luck potion turned into a love potion. Miranda returns home. Suddenly, she hears weird noises from the basement and goes there to check it out. It's dark and Miranda only sees the silhouettes of 3 robbers running away with her box of gold. Miranda calls the police. The officer finds the suspects and invites Miranda for identification. Can you help her find the thieves among these people? Only these 3 individuals match the silhouettes perfectly. The next day, Miranda goes to see a fancy haunted castle. She meets 3 people in the lobby: Drake, Luke, and Maya. Each person claims to be the castle's official owner. Can you help Miranda figure out the real one? Take a look at Drake. He's holding a badge with Maya's picture, and according to this badge, Maya is a chef. Luke is holding a poster with Drake's picture. It says that Drake is a runaway criminal. So Luke must be the real owner of this place. The next morning, Miranda arrives at magic school. Oh no! Someone drew runes on her wall in her office. The spell turns Miranda's hair into snakes. Luckily, she knows the counterspell and quickly fixes herself up. Miranda wants to find out who pulled the prank and interrogates 3 suspects. Bella says,
I woke up late and just arrived here. I wouldn't have time for a prank.
Theodore says,
I don't use magic for silly pranks. It's against my principles.
And Alice says,
I think it was Bianca. I heard her talking bad things about you the other day.
who did it? Theodore's fingers are stained with blue chalk. The runes on the wall are drawn in the same color. Busted! Miranda enters the class and sees that one of the students is turning into a zombie. Can you guess who? Take a look at this guy's hand. He's turning into a zombie. After work, Miranda goes to the farmer's market. Can you help her sort an odd tomato out? This one. What about cheese? Which piece doesn't belong here? It's over here. Let's see if you can sort an odd cherry out. Hello! Miranda returns home. She finds her house elf, Bubba, unconscious on the floor. Bubba says that he didn't see the attacker's face because he was wearing a mask. Miranda finds 4 suspects and questions them. Morpheus says, I spent all day at home learning new spells. Morgana says, I don't know who did it. I was in my garden taking care of my lilies. And Xavier says,
I was on a date with my girlfriend all day long. We've just returned home.
Who's lying? Although Morpheus has a solid mask collection, it doesn't prove that he's guilty. Meanwhile, Morgana doesn't have any lilies in her garden. Therefore, she lied. A huge drama is taking place in the Magic School library. This morning, someone tore up an expensive antique spellbook. Miranda finds 3 suspects and asks them only one question.
Did you enter the library this morning?
Melissa replies,
Nope, I spent all morning in the dining hall. My friends can verify my words.
Wendy says,
I was doing my homework in the classroom all the time. I would never steal a book.
It's against my principles. And Nicholas says, I wanted to visit the library a couple of hours ago, but the door was locked, so I just went to the garden. Can you spot the thief? Miranda never mentioned what exactly was stolen, but Wendy is already making excuses. Miranda goes to the dining hall to have some lunch. The cook serves her favorite chicken dumplings. Miranda puts her plate on the table and leaves for the bathroom to wash her hands. When she returns, she finds out that someone had stolen a couple of dumplings from her plate. Miranda questions 3 suspects. Gil says, I'm a vegetarian. Why would I steal anything with chicken? Leah says, I'm on a wheat-free diet because I'm allergic to gluten. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't have eaten your dumplings. And Rose says, I was too busy with my food, so I didn't look at your table. Who's lying? Leah, if she's allergic to gluten, why did she order this sandwich?
Oliver is walking in the rain. Suddenly, he sees a woman without an umbrella or hat. But she's not getting wet at all. How is this possible? The woman is walking inside a covered area, such as a covered sidewalk. 4 friends go hiking and take a picture by the lake. Can you spot anything weird? This guy doesn't have any reflection in the water. Sarah checks into a fancy hotel. She feels very hungry, but unfortunately Sarah missed the dinner hours. That's why she calls room service and orders a vegan dinner set. 15 minutes later, someone knocks on her door. She looks through the peephole first. Sarah. Oh great, a fake waitress. How did she know? The waitress is fake because she didn't know that Sarah ordered a vegan meal. Kelly and Kim start a quarrel on the plane. It's Kim's private jet, so she wants everything to be her way. But Kelly gets mad at her. She runs up to the exit door, opens it, and jumps out. It happens so fast that the crew don't have time to do anything. Kelly doesn't have a parachute. She breaks her leg but survives. How come? The plane had already landed. Nick is driving down the road and his car runs out of gas. He sees a cabin in the woods and decides to ask for help. When he gets there, he finds 3 people inside. They offer to help him, but only if he agrees to stay there forever. Why? Nick stumbled upon a group of runaway criminals. They're afraid that he would tell others about their location. Early in the morning, Detective Robinson receives a call from his neighbor, Ethan. Ethan, please come as soon as possible. Someone attacked my wife. Robinson arrives at Ethan's house and sees this scene. Can you guess what happened to his wife? Take a look at the calendar on the wall. They pranked the detective because it was April 1st. The city has been taken over by zombies. Let's take a look at this group. Only one of these zombies is a male. Can you guess who? The first zombie is wearing a bra, and the second one has a badge with a female picture and name. Therefore, only the third zombie is a male. Tom works in a secret agency specializing in people with psychic abilities. He's having an interview with 3 people claiming to be superheroes, but only one of them really possesses some supernatural powers. Can you help him spot this person? Take a look at the third lady. She's holding her phone with the power of her mind without even touching it. Stella and Bella go on vacation. They take 2 pictures on the beach. Can you spot 10 differences between them? You can pause the video if you need additional time. Ready to see all the 10 differences? Here they are. Steve arrives at work and turns on the corporate laptop. Oh no! Someone has changed the password. Steve looks around and finds a sticker with a clue. 32, 18, and 29. He enters the number, but it doesn't work. Can you help him crack the code? Steve should literally enter 3 2s, 1 8, and 2 9s through underscores. 222, 8, 99. Gabriel is an art teacher. He enters the studio to check his students' work. One of these people is a ghost. Can you guess who? It's the model. She's posing for a portrait, but everyone sees through her. Dan wakes up in a creepy cage. He needs to figure out a 5-number code to escape. He only has this picture as a clue. Can you help Dan crack the code? To solve this mystery, we need to count the number of legs that each object in this picture has. The human has 2 legs, the fish has 0, the ladybug has 6, the dog has 4, and finally the spider has 8 legs. So the correct code is 20648. Alex went hiking and got lost in the woods. The sun had already set when he finally found a road. 3 drivers stop and offer him a ride to the nearest village. Can you help Alex choose the safest option? There's a zombie arm sticking out of the second car's trunk, and the third driver has suspicious pointy ears and shiny eyes. So he's probably a werewolf. Therefore, Alex should probably trust the first driver. I'm very easy to lift, but very hard to throw. What am I? I'm a feather. Kim downloads a dating app hoping to find her true love. She likes these 3 men equally. They begin to chat, and the guys send her some selfies. Each man claims to be single. But in fact, only one of them doesn't have a girlfriend. Can you guess who? Brian sent Kim a cute bathroom selfie. But take a closer look at his shelf. He has 1 male razor and another pink razor, which probably belongs to his girlfriend. So goodbye, Brian. Meanwhile, Kyle took a selfie in his bedroom. Luckily, he left the closet open so we could see his girlfriend's clothes and shoes. So only Harry is a single person, and Kim should give him a chance. Jenny goes for a walk to her favorite park. Suddenly, she gets attacked by a crowd of zombies. Jenny gets terrified and begins to run away. There are 3 possible routes in front of her, but only one of them will actually take Jenny to a shelter. Can you help her escape? Jenny should choose Route C. Ethan owns a successful flower shop, but today he's very upset. Someone has stolen all the red roses from the storage room. Ethan questions 3 suspects among his staff. Leah, the chief florist, says, "I spent the whole day creating bouquets with pink lilies for a wedding ceremony." Donna, the manager, says, "I don't know who stole the roses. I didn't even enter the storage room today. I was consulting our clients all day long." And finally, Mike, the florist assistant, says, "Fresh red roses were delivered early in the morning. I brought them to the storage room, and I've never entered it again. Who's lying?" Leah. There are no pink lilies in the bouquets that she made. Lauren changes a 6-number password on the office door to avoid thefts. She leaves this little clue for all her colleagues. Bagel. Can you guess the correct code? To solve this mystery, we should calculate the number of each given letter in the alphabet. B implies 2, A implies 1, G 7, and so on. So the final password is 217512. Helen meets a handsome guy at a supermarket. She falls in love at first sight. His name is Robert, and he came here with his sister. Can you guess which one of these ladies is his sister? It's the third woman. She's the only one who's shopping without a separate cart or basket because Robert carries it. The police officer is chasing Kendra, who had just robbed a jewelry store. The teenager sneaks into the nearest school, and the officer follows her. She notices Kendra's hoodie by one of the doors and enters the classroom. There she sees 4 students who look like Kendra. Can you decide who's the real robber? This one is Kendra. She has neither books nor pens on her desk. Let's go ahead and take a look at these 2 pictures. Can you spot 10 differences between them? Ready to see the solution? Here are the 10 differences. It's a Sunday afternoon. Most people are spending it at the local shopping mall. Nothing usually happens here. But suddenly a man snatches a woman's bag and runs away. The woman calls a security guard and yells, "Don't just stand here, go after him!" But the thief has already disappeared into the crowd. Can you help the guard find the thief? He's over here. Sam gets promoted and throws a fancy party for his best friends. Josh, Kate, Brad, Bill, and Holly. Everything goes great. But the next morning, Sam finds out that someone broke into his safe and stole his family treasure, a golden egg. Sam questions his friends, but each swears to have nothing to do with the theft. The police officer looks through the pictures that Sam took yesterday. After comparing these 2 shots, he spots the thief. What about you? Yesterday, Holly was wearing a classy hat. In the first picture, the hat is pressed close to her head. And on the second one, the very same hat is much taller. That's because she hid the golden egg inside it. Violet returns from a business trip. She enters her office and sees a beautiful gift basket on her table. There's a love note from a secret admirer attached to the package. Violet gets very curious. She figures out 3 suspects and asks them just one question. "Did you send me the gift basket?" Liam replies, "Nope, I would have sent you sunflowers instead. I know you love them." Jason says, "I overslept today, and I've just arrived at the office, so I wouldn't have had time to prepare a surprise for you." And Kenny says, "I didn't send the basket, but when I entered your room in the morning to put some documents on your desk, the basket was already there." Who's the secret admirer? The love note is written on a pink sticker. Kenny has similar sticker notes in his workspace, and his handwriting is very similar to the love note. Busted! Tyler receives a message from his new girlfriend, Kitty. She invites him over for dinner. Tyler has never been to her house yet. He takes his scooter and hits the road right away. But unfortunately, he gets lost on the way. His navigator breaks down and shows him 3 confusing routes. Can you guess what route leads to Kitty's house? Tyler should take the first route. Alex is heading to a family dinner, but he's really broke and he only has 8 chocolates. He needs to divide them equally between his 3 sisters. How many cookies would each sister get? Zero. Alex has chocolates, not cookies. Nellie's father has 5 daughters. The name of the eldest daughter is April. The second daughter is May. The third one is June. And the fourth daughter's name is July. Can you guess the name of his 5th daughter? Nellie. A gardening fair takes place in a village. The top 5 local gardeners show their best flowers. But one of them brought fake plants to prank the villagers. Can you spot the fake? Bumblebees fly around all the plants except for the 4th flower pot. Insects don't get attracted to these roses because they're artificial. Dylan is exploring a remote forest area. Soon he gets lost and has no idea where to go. Luckily, he comes across a small cabin in the woods and sees a forester. Dylan. Hello, could you please tell me how I can get to the railway station? Forester. Go down this trail until you reach a crossroads. There, you'll see a rock with signboards. Just remember, the left one lies, and the right one tells the truth. Dylan follows his advice and soon finds the rock. Can you guess which way he should go to reach the station? Since the left sign is lying and the right one is the truth, Dylan should walk straight ahead. Claire puts on a classy white suit and goes for a walk. Suddenly, a big dog pops out of nowhere and jumps on her. The dog stains Claire's outfit with dirty paws. She gets furious and yells, "Whose dog is this?" Can you spot the owner of this animal? It's the second lady. She's wearing the same collar as her dog.
A villain lured Detective Johnson into a trap. He told the detective that if he wanted to survive, he needed to crack a riddle. Then he put a jug of juice and an empty glass in front of him. There was nothing else on the table. Johnson needed to fill the glass to the brim, but after that, the jug had to contain the same amount of juice as it did at the beginning. Can you help the detective figure out how to do it? It's very simple. The detective should pour the drink into the glass and then place it inside the jug. An elderly lady was walking in the park when a stranger grabbed her bag and hurried away. The woman told the police the man was wearing a coat, a hat, and glasses. He also had a mustache. The police officers ran in the direction the lady showed them. Some distance away, they found the hat, coat, and glasses lying on the ground. They realized that the criminal could be hiding in the nearby cafe. Look at these 4 men. All of them are cafe visitors. You need to understand who took the bag from the elderly woman. It can't be the man in a hat or the one wearing a coat. The criminal also got rid of his glasses, so it can't be the man in the corner. It means that the man wanted by the police is the one on the right. He has a small wound on his upper lip. He must have gotten rid of his fake mustache in a hurry. Builders were mixing sand, gravel, and cement for the foundation of a house. Suddenly, one of the workers noticed a small bird hopping along the top of the foundation wall. At one point, the bird misjudged the distance and fell down one of the holes between the blocks. No one could reach it since the bird was too far down. The hole was also too small for it to fly out of. Someone suggested using 2 sticks to try to pull the bird out, but this idea was rejected because it could easily injure the fragile bird. What would be the easiest way to get the bird out of the hole without hurting it? Since the workers have plenty of sand at hand, they can pour a little at a time into the hole. The bird would constantly keep shifting its position and get closer to the surface along with the rising sand. Now this riddle will require some thinking and analytical skills. You might even need to get a pen and a slip of paper. Listen attentively. 2 criminals were caught stealing. Detective Brightbrain suspects that the criminals are in cahoots. But this is just speculation, and there's no proof. The detective offers each of the criminals a deal to rat on his comrade and get freedom for this. But the other criminal will be sentenced to 10 years in prison. If the criminal refuses to testify, he'll spend 6 months in prison for refusing to cooperate with the investigation. If both testify against each other, both will receive 2 years in prison. The criminals are isolated from each other and cannot communicate. It's in everyone's interest to reduce the time spent behind bars as much as possible. What decision should each criminal make? Make a deal with the investigation or remain silent? Since they can't communicate with each other, the criminals have 4 possibilities. A is silent and B is silent. Equals each gets 6 months in prison. A is silent and B testifies. B is released and A is sentenced to 10 years. A testifies and B is silent equals A is released and B is sentenced to 10 years. A testifies and B testifies equals both get imprisoned for 2 years. If the suspects are not allowed to communicate, then they do not know what the other will choose. In this situation, if A remains silent, then, depending on B's decision, he will be sentenced to 10 years or 6 months. If A testifies against B, A will receive 2 years in prison or will be released. So it will be more profitable for each of the suspects to testify against each other, so as not to be sentenced to 10 years. But if A and B had the opportunity to communicate, then of course, the best solution for each of them would be to refuse to make a deal with the investigation and get only 6 months in prison. On the first day of school, someone pierced the wheels of the principal's car. When a detective arrived, she immediately suspected that the culprit was not one of the students, but an adult, since all the children were in the classroom. So, she questioned 4 teachers, asking each of them what they had been doing at 8 a.m. Mr. Walter said that he'd been on his way to school, running late. Mrs. Thomas answered that she had been checking her students' exam papers. Mr. Benjamin said that he'd been reading a newspaper. And Mrs. Calvin explained that she had been in her office with her husband, who had come to visit her. The detective immediately realized who had punctured the tires on the principal's car. Who was it? It was Mrs. Thomas.
Oh, no.
She couldn't be checking exam papers on the first day of school. Mary Levis was a famous detective. Once, she was gathering all available information on a tricky case. A well-known banker disappeared from his office. The detective had 5 suspects: Alice, Jack, Stephen, Nicholas, and Maria. The thing is, on the banker's table, Mary found a diary with several entries. The latest entry said, "At 10 o'clock, I have a meeting with Maria. The next day, at 1 o'clock, I have to meet with Nicholas. And on June 3rd, I have an $11 million deal with Stefan." It's important not to mix it up. After carefully examining the evidence, the detective realized who was behind the banker's disappearance. Who was it? It was Jack. All the numbers in the last entry, 10, 1, 3, and 11, are the order of the letters in the alphabet. By matching the numbers with letters, you can get the name. There was a theft in a multi-story building. The victim was sure she would receive a large payment from the insurance company. As for the robber, she claimed he had jumped out of the window and disappeared. The detective went to the first floor, opened a closed window, and threw a coin out of it. Then he went up to the second floor and did the same. He continued to climb floor after floor, opening windows and throwing coins, until he reached the last one. Then he returned and said that the victim was lying. How did he understand it? The detective had to open every window on every floor. If the robber had jumped out on his own, he wouldn't have been able to close the window behind him. He had an accomplice, and most likely, it was the victim who wanted a payout from the insurance company. Jake and his friend Jonathan liked challenging each other. One would suggest something they could do, and the other would prove it wrong somehow. One day, Jake surprised Jonathan by stating, "I can answer any question in the world." Jonathan was sure that he could win the challenge, so he accepted the task of proving it wrong. He wrote up a test full of super hard questions. After a while, Jake returned the test. Jonathan lost the challenge. He had to admit that Jake could indeed answer any question. How did Jake win? He indeed answered all the questions by writing, "I don't know." Two workmen were repairing a roof. Suddenly, they both fell down the chimney and found themselves in a large fireplace. One man's face was smeared with soot, but the face of the other was clean. The second man washed his face, but the worker whose face was dirty didn't, and just went back to work. Why? When the two men looked at each other, the one with the clean face thought his face was dirty as well. The other man, though, looked at his companion and thought that his face was clean.
Yeah.
Hey, my dear detective, I need your help today. Or rather, not me, but Gemma. She works as a manager at a large supermarket, and one morning, she receives a strange message. "There's a thief among your customers. Beware."
Oh, no.
Gemma runs out of her office and sees three people who look suspicious. Can you help Gemma figure out who the real shoplifter is? It's the guy in the middle. If his arm was really broken, he wouldn't be able to carry that blanket. Mark's boss gave him a task to bring some important documents from his house. But when the guy arrived, he saw that the door was locked. And to get inside, he needed a password. Mark saw a sequence of numbers. 1347118. He needed to figure out the next 4 digits. They would make up the password. Can you help the guy? One and 3 together gives us 4, which is the next number. 3 and 4 are 7. Here it is. 4 plus 7 is 11. Then 7 plus 11 is 18. So the next digits are 2 and 9. 29. Since that's what you get when you add 18 to 11. And 18 plus 29 is 47. So the password is 2947. Detective Lars was chasing a criminal who had robbed a jewelry store. But the criminal managed to hide in a women's clothing store and put on a female outfit. Can you help the officer find the thief among these ladies? This elegant woman on the right is wearing the same sneakers as the criminal did during the robbery. Lauren was an archaeologist exploring ancient pyramids. Once she got lost and found herself locked in a tiny room. The worst thing was that as soon as she got into the room, the door she had entered through got blocked by a rock slide. No one knew where Lauren was. She had to get out of there on her own. The woman saw another door, but it was locked. To open it, she had to solve a riddle and enter the correct 4-digit code. Can you help Lauren figure out the code? Each digit of the code is the number of letters in the alphabet that stand between the letters in the riddle. So, we've got 5, 1, 3, and 9. That's the code Lauren needs to enter. Now let's check how attentive to detail you are. How does this colorful cube look from above? The correct variant is picture number 4. The next task, try to find all the differences between these two pictures. If you found 3 differences, congrats! Even Sherlock Holmes would be jealous of your attention skills. The evening before his girlfriend's birthday, Michael arrived at her office quite late to decorate her desk. He pretended to be a pizza delivery guy to get past the security. But when Michael finished with the decorations, he realized that the building was closed. But the worst thing was that all the guards had already left. If the guy just opened the door, the alarm would go off and the police would arrive right away. Michael found a locker with a few tangled wires inside. One of them turned off the alarm. Another was responsible for fire detectors, and the last one turned the cameras off. Which wire should the guy cut? The green one. It'll turn the alarm off. Don't let this riddle baffle you. It's not as difficult as it may seem at first. Take your time. Write down some notes, and you'll crack it in no time.
Yeah.
A small town is visited by an ice cream truck every day. On Friday, the truck comes as usual. 5 children, one from each of the first 5 houses on the street, buy different kinds of ice cream. Each of the treats has a different flavor and a completely different topping. Listen attentively to the details and try to figure out which child lives in which house and brought which ice cream flavor with which topping. Jim lives between the child who got raspberry topping and the child who bought mango ice cream. Joyce, whose house has an even number, chose cherry topping. Nancy does not live next to Joyce. Black currant ice cream had no topping. The child who lives in house number 2 bought butterscotch ice cream. The child from house number 3 did not get chocolate ice cream. Mike had banana ice cream, but he doesn't like banana cherry topping. The child who had cashew topping lives in house number 5. Dustin does not live in house number 4. Keep in mind that the odd number houses and the even numbered houses are located on opposite sides of the street. So, here's the answer. Jim lives in house number 3, and he bought blackcurrant ice cream with no topping. Dustin lives in house number 2, and he got butterscotch ice cream with banana cherry topping. Nancy lives in house number 5, and she had mango ice cream with cashew. Joyce lives in house number 4, and he bought chocolate ice cream with cherry topping. Mike lives in house number 1, and he got banana ice cream with raspberry. A long time ago, a king ruled the great kingdom of Trojan House. As part of the renovation of the kingdom to meet new security needs, he asked his chief architect to create a new construction plan. The king's idea was that all of his 10 castles should be connected with 5 straight walls, and each wall must connect 4 castles together. He also told the architect that at least one of the castles should be protected with walls from all sides. The architect could not come up with any solution, but he suggested the best plan he could think of. Here it is. Can you find a better solution? That's the solution the king will like much more. As you see, in this case, not one but two castles are protected from all sides. 12-year-old Adam knew his older brother Philip, who was 20 years old, got some money for his birthday. But however hard Adam tried, he couldn't find it. One day when Philip was away, the boy sneaked into his brother's room. There was no money, but Adam found a map. His brother had hidden his cash in the garden. Adam followed the instructions to a T. 10 steps to the left, 15 to the right, then 8 straight ahead. It must be here. The boy started to dig. He wasted 2 hours and still found nothing. Did Philip trick his brother? Due to their age and size difference, Adam's steps were smaller than his brother's. That's why he was looking for the money in the wrong place. Jason, a rich traveler, stayed in a small but expensive hotel at the seaside. During a severe storm with gale-force winds, there was a blackout. The whole area was plunged into darkness. People stayed without electricity for at least 2 hours. The problem was finally solved. But Jason discovered that during the blackout, someone had taken his wallet with a lot of cash and his credit cards. The police arrived and questioned the people who had been in the hotel at the time. Justin, the receptionist, told the detective he had been in the basement. He was trying to start an emergency generator. Unfortunately, he didn't succeed. Nicole, another guest, said she had arrived an hour before the blackout. She was exhausted. She lit several candles, unpacked, cleaned herself, and went to bed. Gregory, the hotel driver, said he'd been at the airport. A new guest had arrived and he went to pick them up. The police immediately figured out who was lying. Can you? The blackout was caused by a bad storm, and planes don't fly in such windy conditions. Then how could someone arrive by airplane? Gregory lied. Look at this picture attentively and try to figure out what's wrong here. That elderly lady is watering her plant with milk. Miss Jenkins invited her friends over. There was only one problem. Her friends eat a lot, so she knew she needed to bake 6 pies. At some point, she lost track of time and realized there was little time left. How can she cope in 15 minutes if only 4 pies are placed in the pan, and a pie should be baked for 5 minutes on each side? Here's how she can do that. She puts 4 pies for 5 minutes and turns over 2 pies. Then she removes 2 pies and puts 2 new ones, not yet fried, once again for 5 minutes. Next, she removes 2 pies, turns 2 of them, and puts 2 underdone ones from the first batch, which will take 5 minutes. Bon appetit! Water lilies grow in the pond. They multiply quite quickly, doubling the area of distribution every day. In 48 days, the pond will be completely covered with water lilies. In how many days will the water lilies cover half the pond? It's 47 days, not 24. If the number of water lilies doubles every day, then it takes them 48 days to cover the entire pond. It's logical that they will occupy half the pond the day before that. Mr. Richardson, a math professor, decided to treat his friends to his signature vegetable salad. To do this, he needed 3 bell peppers and the same number of tomatoes. He also needed fewer cucumbers than tomatoes, but more than radishes. How many vegetables did the professor use in the salad? Mr. Richardson used 9 veggies, 3 bell peppers, 3 tomatoes, 2 cucumbers, and 1 radish. There were 3 rabbits in the cage. 3 girls asked for 1 rabbit each. Each girl was given a rabbit, and yet there was still 1 rabbit left in the cage. How did it happen? One girl was given a rabbit along with the cage. A man jumped out of a plane without a parachute. He landed on solid ground, but remained unharmed. Why? The plane was on the ground. The satellite makes 1 revolution around the Earth in 1 hour 40 minutes, yet the same one can make 1 revolution in only 100 minutes. How can it be so? "100 minutes is 1 hour and 40 minutes. Gotcha! 8 twin brothers escape to a country house for the weekend, and each found something to his liking. The first one is busy picking apples. The second one goes fishing. The third one heats the sauna. The fourth one plays chess with his brother. The fifth one cooks dinner. The sixth one watches a series on a laptop all day. The seventh one discovers the artist in himself and paints the surrounding landscapes. What is the 8th brother doing at this time? Well, he plays chess with the 4th brother. One woman lived in a 12-room apartment. She had a clock in every room. One Saturday evening, at the end of October, she changed all her clocks to wintertime and went to bed. When she woke up the next morning, she found that only 2 dials showed the correct time. Why? Ten of the 12 clocks were electronic. During the night, there was a power surge and the clocks went off. And only 2 were mechanical, so they showed the correct time the next morning. Jack and John are best buddies, and they're both philosophers. Therefore, sometimes the way they speak may be pretty bizarre for common people. "Let's have dinner together when the day after tomorrow becomes yesterday," said John. "Today will be as far from Sunday as the day that was today when the day before yesterday was tomorrow." What day of the week did he speak about? It's Sunday. Luckily, Jack could easily interpret what his friend wanted to say, so they had a nice dinner together. There are 20 people on the bus. At the first stop, 2 people got off and 3 people got in. At the next one, 1 got off and 4 got in. At the next, 5 got off and 2 got in. At the next, 2 got off and 1 got in. At the next, 9 got off and no one got in. At the next, 2 more came out. How many stops were there? There were 6 stops. Samantha and Julie wanted to have a peaceful Sunday afternoon. They decided to have a hot air balloon ride and headed to the park. The instructor offered them to choose which one they wanted to ride, a blue one, a green one, or a yellow one. Samantha loves the blue one. No surprise, look at her clothes. And Julie wants to go for the green one. Which girl isn't very attentive? Samantha, the color isn't that important. There's no sandbags. You want to have a safe ride, don't you? Somebody was stealing important documents from the office. The guards didn't see anyone. Neither did the secretary. The boss decided to install the security cameras to find out who was doing it. They checked the footage carefully and found out who it was. Can you guess? It's the man in the white shirt. When he went out of the office, he had 2 folders in his hand. At the beginning of the day, he had only one. Which number is missing? 4, 5, 6. 4, 5. The number 7 is missing. The subsequent number of 456 is 457. Imagine you've just entered a pitch black room. There's an oil lamp, a newspaper, and some wood kindling inside the room. You have only one match. You have to make a tough choice. What to light first? The oil lamp is definitely a good choice, but it's still incorrect. First of all, you'll need to light the match. Ted Thompson, who didn't really like modern art, rushed into the city gallery and caused millions of dollars worth of damage to several paintings. Yet, the manager of the gallery thanked Mr. Thompson for his actions. How come? Ted was a firefighter. The water from his hose damaged several masterpieces, but he still managed to extinguish the fire and save many more exhibits. Once upon a time, in a spooky forest, there were 7 trolls who were all brothers. They were all born 3 years apart. The youngest troll is 100 years old now. How old is his oldest brother? He's 118. Looking good for that age. A man wakes up in a place he's never been before. He rushes to the exit and sees 2 doors. When he opens the first door, he sees that the hall is made of magnifying glass. The scorching hot sun fries anyone who enters in no time. Behind a second door, a huge dragon breathing with fire is sleeping. But anyone who enters this hall risks waking it up immediately. How does he escape safely? He needs to wait for dusk, so there's no sun, and he can easily get out of that place. Detective Cooper needed to find out the very last piece of missing information in the case he's been dealing with lately. He finally got to the office where secret documents were hidden. To open the door, he needs to choose the right button. There are 3 of them, a yellow one, a green one, and a blue one. Which one should the detective choose? The detective needs to choose the blue button. It's pretty worn out, so it must have been used many times. Plus, there's a small note with a warning. The green button is for emergency, and the yellow one shuts all the doors and turns off the light in the whole building. One day, Amanda thought her boyfriend hid a secret from her. To find out what it was, she needed to get access to his laptop. She had no idea what the password was, but there was a post-it note right on his desk. However, she needed to decipher the pass. Apple, man, Dawn. Can you crack this code? Right, it's Amanda. Her name is the code. By the way, the secret he was hiding was the birthday present Eric was choosing for her. Hey, never do what Amanda did. It's pretty mean to snoop on someone. Hey Brightsider, are you ready to give your brain a good shake? Then you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Ryan was a famous artist. Unfortunately, he was 60. He had an accident that left him blind. The man hired 3 people to help him. Jason was his driver, Laura was the housekeeper, and Timothy looked after the garden. One afternoon, Timothy went to talk to Ryan and found the artist on the floor. Someone had attacked him. The man was taken to a hospital immediately, and the police arrived to investigate the case. Jason told them he and Ryan had had a great time in the morning playing computer games. Then he left to pick up Ryan's daughter from the airport. Laura said she'd spent all day in the kitchen cooking dinner. And Timothy said that before finding Ryan, he'd been at the market choosing new fruit trees for the garden. Who was behind the attack? It was Jason. Ryan was blind and couldn't play computer games. Kenneth, a newbie police officer, was walking along the street, proudly wearing his uniform. Suddenly, a pretty girl rushed towards him. "Help!" she screamed. "I've been mugged!" After Kenneth made her calm down, the girl told him her story. "I was walking home from college when a man ran up to me. He hit me in the eye and took all my jewelry and money." When Kenneth heard this, he immediately realized the girl was lying. How? The girl was wearing glasses. If the criminal had hit her in the eye, her glasses would have been shattered. Brian's friends invited him to spend the summer vacation in Europe with them. Unfortunately, the guy had serious problems with his studies. To punish him, his dad took away his passport and locked it in a safe. The only way for Brian to get his documents and have some fun was to crack the code. When he snuck into his dad's study, he saw a piece of paper stuck to the safe. There were 3 drawings on it: a rose, a rainbow, a calico cat, and a banana. Brian thought for a while, then pressed 4 numbers. The code was correct, and the safe opened. Which numbers were they? Two, 7, 3, 1. Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the objects in the picture. Betty was on cloud 9 after 2 guys asked her out, but she felt she couldn't give hope to both of them. She had to choose one. Stephen was her secret crush. He was from a rich family, handsome and smart. She'd been dreaming about him for a year. John was a good guy too. She knew for sure he was kind and funny. The girl was at a loss. Which one should she pick? Any ideas? Betty should go for John. Stephen isn't serious about her. He has a lipstick mark on his neck. Look at this picture. Who, in your opinion, is from the future? It's that blonde man with a beard. Do you see he's carrying a flashlight? How about these pictures? Who's a time traveler here? It's the man in the third image. He's carrying his produce in a plastic bag. See? A real Viking is hiding among these soccer fans. Can you spot him? It's that red-bearded man in the left corner. Who's a time traveler in this image? It's the woman wearing a yellow skirt. She has wooden shoes on. If it's not a fashion statement, then she's definitely from the past. How about these guys? One of them is from the future. Can you figure out which one? It's the guy on the left. A smartphone is lying next to his hand. But look at the computer he's using. At that time, there were no smartphones yet. The next image is for you. Your task is to figure out who is from the past. It's this lady in a blue dress. Have you noticed a bag where she probably has some coins on her waist? These people look very, shall I say, ancient? But one of them is just pretending. He's actually from the future. Who is it? It's the man on the left. He's holding a blueprint of an aircraft. Okay, now try to use all your attention skills. Which painting is fake? It's the one in the middle. A painter from 1957 couldn't know anything about smartphones. These 3 vampires all claim that they're real, but 2 of them are imposters. Your task is to expose them. Look, there's a mirror behind the vampire on the left, and he does get reflected in it. As for the one in the middle, where are his fangs? So, only the vampire on the right is the real thing. Which of these people isn't very smart? The man is most likely making a mistake. He's gonna feed his cat with dog food. Look at this picture very, very attentively. There are a few mistakes here, but to make this task harder, I won't tell you how many. Try to figure it out on your own. For one thing, there's a car in the painting hanging on the wall, and it definitely looks out of place there. Then, the man seems to be using a banana as a phone. And oh boy, he must really be a very absent-minded guy. He's also wearing different slippers. We've got 3 people here. They all seem to be unwell, but one of them is only pretending. Can you figure out who it is? It's the guy on the right. His phone is in his right pocket. He must have used his right arm to put it there, but it's broken. How is it possible? Look at these people attentively. One of these guys is the baby's father. Can you figure out which one it is? It's the guy on the right. The baby has his eyes. Mark and Liza had been dating for 2 years. One day, the guy came to his girlfriend's house. He was going to propose to her, but when he made it there, he found Liza with another man. Mark was furious. The other guy got scared and rushed out of the house. Liza was shouting that it was her brother, but Mark knew better. Unfortunately, he hadn't seen the guy's face clearly. When he ran outside, he saw 3 men. Which one is Liza's lover? It's the guy on the left. It's freezing outside, and the other 2 guys have red cheeks and noses. But the third guy's face is pale, because he just left a warm house. One day, Mr. Martin called the police. His car had been stolen right from the street outside his house. The police questioned 3 suspects. Eric, a teenager who lived next door, said he had been at school and had seen nothing suspicious. Amy, a young artist renting a house across the street, had been too engrossed in her work to pay attention to her surroundings. But Mr. Brandon, an elderly man whose house was next to Amy's, accused Eric of taking the car. Mr. Brandon was having his breakfast when he saw the teenager get into the vehicle and drive off. Strangely, after his words, the police officers arrested the elderly man. Why? Everything Mr. Brandon could see out of his window during breakfast was his tall brick fence. A famous pop singer, Anthony Black, was attacked after his concert. He was taken to a hospital. The police questioned several of his fans. Linda was crying. "I took Anthony's autograph and couldn't wait to boast to my friends about it." Lisa said,
I asked Mr. Black to sign his photo. After I got it, I went to buy a coffee.
and Jason said, "Anthony was super nice and friendly. I didn't notice anything strange." The police immediately arrested the fan who seemed suspicious. Who was it? It was Lisa. The autograph on the photo looks different from the singer's real signature. Molly, Holly, and Sally are going to the prom in a fancy limousine, but the car breaks down on the way. The party hall is nearby, so the ladies decide to walk. Suddenly, it starts to rain. Luckily, all three ladies have umbrellas, but still, one of them gets wet. Can you guess who? Holly. Her skirt is wider than the diameter of her umbrella. Finally, the ladies arrive at the prom. All of their friends look very elegant and fancy. Leah is wearing very expensive designer shoes. Bella carries a Chanel bag. Alice is taking selfies with the latest smartphone. And Kim is showing off a sparkling diamond necklace. But in fact, only one of them is wealthy. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at the logo. Bella's Chanel bag is fake. Leah's shoes are way bigger than her feet, so she probably borrowed them from someone else. As for Alice, the smartphone in her hand is not hers. It has Kim's name on it, so Kim is the richest person here. Kim goes to the dance floor. Bobby, Billy, and Kenny invite her to dance, but one of these guys was bitten by a vampire, so he's not safe to dance with. Can you guess who? Bobby has a red mark on his shirt, but it's just lipstick. Billy's drinking something red, but it's just a cherry punch. Meanwhile, Kenny doesn't have any shadow, so he's a vampire. Kim goes to the ladies' room, but all three stalls are occupied. There's a robot inside one of them. Can you guess where? Let's take a look at the first lady's feet. Ouch! She's rubbed multiple corns with her fancy sandals. She can't be a robot. As for the third lady, her pedicure is too messy for a robot. Therefore, the robot is in the second stall. Bella asks Kim to take her picture. Kim takes a couple of shots. Can you find 3 differences between them? Here they are. Kim goes back to the party and spots a runaway criminal among the guests. Can you see this person too? It's the show host. He's hiding a prison robe under his suit. At the party, Bella gets bitten by a vampire too. Kim takes her to the hospital. They meet 2 doctors in the lobby. One of them is an imposter. Can you guess who? Real doctors wear gloves, and the woman on the right doesn't wear any. Bella gets into a hospital ward with 3 other people. One of them is not sick. Can you guess who? The woman on the left looks perfectly healthy. She has her lipstick on and a glamorous hairstyle. Although her arm is broken, it doesn't mean that she's sick. Kim comes home from a long day. She's very excited to treat herself with a bubble bath. She's been dreaming about it all day. But someone used up all her bubble foam. Kim interrogates her family members. Father says, I spent all day at the garage repairing my old car, and I haven't visited the bathroom yet. Mother says, I was feeling sick all day, so I didn't pay any attention to your beauty products. And Kim's brother says, it wasn't me who took your bubble foam, but I think it was Mom. Who did it? Take a closer look at Dad's beard. There's pieces of foam on it. Busted! The next night, Kim goes to a sleepover with her friends. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? This guy is a werewolf. Take a look at his claws.
Oh no.
Kim puts some cash in a stash in her room and leaves for Granny's house. In a couple of days, Kim returns and realizes that someone had stolen her money. How did she guess? Kim's stash was in this book. It was on the shelf when she left, and now the book is gone.
Oh God.
Kim runs to the living room and yells at her family. Who stole my book? Everyone swears to have nothing to do with the robbery, but Kim spots the thief right away. What about you? It's the brother. He used the book as a stand for his PlayStation. Kim is watching a TV program about risky sports.
Oh.
Can you help her guess which guy has a better chance of survival?
Oh God.
The one who's falling into the snow has a higher chance to survive. Hitting the water can be tough, and he still needs to get out of the ocean. Kim's dad wants to buy a boat. His agent arranges a meeting with 3 people. Each tells a brief story about their boats. Karen says, my husband gave me this boat 5 years ago as a wedding gift. That's why it has my name. But now I want to sell it because we don't use it. Charles says, I inherited this boat from my father. It works very well, but I don't need it because I'm moving abroad. And Liam says, I built this boat on my own, but now I'm building a bigger one, so I'd like to sell it to get some cash. One of the sellers is lying. Can you spot who? Take a closer look at the first boat. Its name is Karma, not Karen. Therefore, she's a liar.
Oh.
Kim goes to the nearby hardware store to buy something for her home. Kim asks, how much for the one? The shopkeeper replies,
It's $2.
then Kim asks, how much for 11? The shopkeeper replies,
It's $4.
and finally, Kim asks,
How much for 100?
and the shopkeeper replies,
$6.
what is Kim buying? She's buying a house number. Each digit costs $2. Kim's cat, Fluffy, ran away. She's been looking for him in a forest all evening. Finally, she gets tired and heads home. But suddenly, she sees a witch's house on the way. Kim enters and faces the witch. Fluffy is sitting on her lap. The witch says,
I'll release your cat if you crack my riddle. I have 2 besties who are identical twins. Emma was born in 2003 and Gemma in 2004.
how is it possible? They're twins, but they were born on New Year's Eve. Emma was born right before midnight and Gemma right after midnight. The next day, Kim meets a handsome guy who likes puzzles. She asks his name, but instead of answering directly, the guy writes a date on a piece of paper. Can you help Kim figure out his name? Each number implies a particular letter of the alphabet. The guy's name is Theo. Theo invites Kim to an art exhibition. Take a look at these squares. Which one is bigger, yellow or green? All these black and white squares usually confuse perception, but it becomes obvious that the green square is larger than the yellow one if we put them away. Kim asks Theo, "What month were you born?" He replies with 4 emojis. Can you guess the month? Jack-o'-lantern stands for J. The next emoji implies U. Nut stands for N, and eggplant stands for E. Theo was born in June. Kim and Theo go for a walk in an abandoned village. They see a sign leading to a famous haunted castle. There are 4 possible routes, but only one of them will actually lead them to the castle. Can you figure out the correct way? It's way easier to untangle this maze if you start drawing from the final destination. They should take Route B. Finally, Kim and Theo find the castle. They enter the property and see a fancy living room. There are 6 zombies hiding in the living room. Can you spot them? Hello! The guys run away from the zombies and hide in the basement. They wander around and see 3 doors. Suddenly, the basement begins to get filled with water. Kim and Theo have to choose a door quickly to escape. But each door has a surprise. There's a tank with a family of sharks behind the first door. There's a deep hole with sharp venomous corals behind the second door. And there's a tank with piranhas behind the third door. Which door is more or less safe? The second door. The basement is full of water, so they can swim over the corals. Detective Brightbrain was sitting in his office when his phone rang. Richard Brooks, a jeweler, said he had just been robbed. Brightbrain arrived immediately at the boutique, and Mr. Brooks explained what happened.
I spent the entire morning showing diamond rings to a gentleman in a gray suit. He was extremely polite and knew a lot about diamonds. When I looked down to grab the store's most expensive ring, I felt someone hit me on the head. I fell forward, and when I woke up, the guy was gone.
Brightbrain didn't ask any more questions. Instead, he wrote a report saying Mr. Brooks wasn't robbed. He was actually faking the whole thing. Take a look at the scene. How did Brightbrain come to that conclusion? If Mr. Brooks fell forward, the weight of his body would have broken the glass counter in front of him. And look, there's not even a scratch. The next day, Brightbrain was driving to work when he got hit by a red Chevrolet. The guy got away pretty fast, but the detective managed to see the car's license plate began with 62. Back at the office, Brightbrain tracked down the possible owner of the vehicle, Mr. Neander. The detective arrived at Mr. Neander's house together with the police and immediately saw a red Chevrolet with a 62 license plate in the yard, but there weren't any signs of a collision. Brightbrain interrogated the subject, but Mr. Neander said,
I swear it wasn't me. I haven't left the house in 2 days, and I can't use my car because I lost the keys a week ago.
Brightbrain approached the vehicle and leaned on the hood of the car to peep inside. He immediately said, I know you're lying. How was Brightbrain so sure? The detective tried the simplest way to detect whether a car had been recently used. He checked the temperature of the motor. As the hood was still warm, this showed that Mr. Neander was lying. During the month of December, a gang of robbers was operating in Bentonville. They walked dressed up as Santa Claus and broke into houses through chimneys. They put valuable goods into their Santa bags and walked straight out the door. When the neighbors saw them, they thought they were the real Santa. Finally, the police caught the entire gang. However, one of them claimed he was the real Santa and shouldn't be convicted for crimes he didn't commit. Detective Brightbrain was called to handle the case because he had seen the real Santa once when he was still a little child. He recalled that Santa was medium height. He was wearing a coat with 6 buttons, and there was a pocket on the right. He also said that Santa's belt buckle was square. Take a look at the footage from the police station. Can you figure out who the real Santa is? It's the second one on the right. He fits all of Brightbrain's descriptions. It was raining when Brightbrain decided to drive down to the gym. Halfway there, a woman stopped his car asking for help. She said someone had just bumped into her car and drove away. When the detective took a look around, the only person next to the place of the incident was a man fixing his tire. The lady said that was the car that bumped into hers, but when Brightbrain went to talk to the man, he said it couldn't be true because he was busy fixing his car the whole time. Can you tell who's lying? It's the guy fixing his car. The rain just recently started, which means that if he was fixing his car the whole time, the ground underneath it would have been dry. But look, it's wet. This means he's just arrived there and was actually the one responsible for the incident. The next day, Brightbrain left his girlfriend's house directly to his office building. He was late for work, so he ignored several stop signs along the way. A police car passed by him exactly at the moment he was turning the wrong way onto a one-way street, but the officers didn't arrest him. Why? Because the detective was walking, not driving a car. Duh. Around 8 in the morning the next day, Detective Brightbrain was on his way to get coffee when he saw a robbery happen. A masked person ran off with a woman's wallet. The detective ran after the thief and saw him entering a coffee shop. When Brightbrain went inside, he searched for the thief, but couldn't find them. The person had taken their mask off. He told the coffee shop owner that one of their clients was a thief, and the owner closed down the shop so that the detective could question the people there. The first person he interrogated was Allie. She said she had been in the coffee shop for the last 3 hours, working on her laptop. Brian said he had just come inside to get an espresso to go. Catherine said she had just started eating her breakfast and didn't see anything suspicious going on. Lastly, he interrogated John, the coffee shop owner. He said he opened the shop at 7 a.m. and hadn't left the place since then. Brightbrain knew immediately who had done it. Can you guess who it was? It was Allie. She said she'd been in the shop for the past 3 hours, but the shop had just opened at 7 o'clock. At his office, Brightbrain received a strange text message from his workmate, Harry. The text said, "Zucchini is in the fridge. Otherwise, I'm fine. Okay?" The weird text made the detective think there was a message hidden inside. After a few minutes, he found a hidden word in the message. Can you guess what it was? If you pay attention closely, the first letter of each line can be mixed together to form the word zoo. Quickly, Brightbrain grabbed his things and drove to the local zoo. He arrived at the zoo and immediately saw the entrance to a secret passageway. The passageway led him to a network of underground tunnels. At the entrance to the first tunnel, there were venomous rats. At the entrance to the second tunnel, there was an explosive about to go off in 5 minutes. And at the entrance to the last tunnel, there was toxic gas. Which tunnel should he choose? The second one, of course. He can pass through the tunnel after the explosive goes off. At the end of the tunnel, he found himself in a dark room. As soon as he entered, the door locked behind him and he was stuck. The room was empty except for another door at the other end of the room. That door was sealed with a letter combination lock. There was a slip of paper with the following hint written on it: P plus 3, N minus 1, B minus 1, N plus 4, S plus 1. What's the code word? It took Brightbrain a while to figure it out, but he was able to crack the code. The code word was SMART. The key to this riddle was hidden in the alphabet. P plus its 3 following letters is S, N minus 1 letter is M, and so on. Phew, the door opened and led him to another room where he finally met Harry. Brightbrain untied his workmate and told him he was going to get them out of that situation. But when he looked around, he noticed they were standing at the bottom of a very deep well. Looking up, they could see the clear blue sky, but it looked like there was no way out. The detective felt soil falling onto their heads, and he feared they were going to be buried in mud. Luckily, in an hour, both men made it out of the well alive. How did they manage to get out? They managed to tamp down the soil that was falling into the well. This way, they would get closer and closer to the surface until they managed to jump out and run away. That's it for Brightbrain's adventure today. That was a lot.
Jill and Jim live in the US. One day, Jim goes on a business trip to Europe. Jill misses him very much, so she calls him up. She asks Jim to take a selfie and send it to her. He agrees. Jill gets furious as soon as she sees the picture. Jill: "You're a liar. How did Jill figure it out?" Europe and the US are in different time zones, but in Jim's photo, it's noon. That's American time. He never left the country. Can you find a zombie in this picture? Over here. What about this ski resort? Can you spot any zombies? Hello? And now let's see if you can find a zombie in this amusement park. It's hiding over here. The biggest bank in town was robbed last night. The local police investigate this case and find 2 suspects. They go to search their houses. The officer sees a clue and figures out who the criminal is. How did he guess? Let's take a look at the walls. There's the same picture in both houses, but this one is hanging upside down. There's probably a stash behind it. Busted. A teacher has 21 colored pencils. 7 red, 7 yellow, and 7 blue. She needs to divide them into 2 piles so that one pile would have 3 times fewer red pencils than the second one. And the second pile should have 2 times fewer yellow pencils compared to the first pile. How many blue pens would be in each pile? Zero. The teacher had 21 pencils, not pens. Can you rearrange these crayons and make 4 triangles? To solve this mystery, you gotta think outside the box. Here's the correct answer. Let's make the task a little harder. Can you remove just 2 crayons to make 2 squares? Ready to see the result? There you go. Donna goes to a supermarket and spots something weird. 2 of these women are pregnant, but one of them just stole a watermelon. Can you guess who? It's the third lady. She's wearing high heels, not what pregnant women would wear to a grocery store. Kitty wakes up in a creepy basement. She needs to open this door to escape. Can you guess the right order to press the buttons? Kitty needs to make the word unlock from the first letters of each emoji. Therefore, she should press the buttons in the following order: unicorn, nose, lobster, onion, cactus, kiss, and voila. Today is Cassie's birthday. She brings a cake to work to celebrate with her colleagues, Stan, Gemma, and Rosie. Cassie unpacks the cake in the office kitchen. Suddenly, Granny calls, and Cassie goes outside to talk to her. After a while, Cassie returns and finds her precious birthday cake on the floor. She questions everyone. Stan says, "I was sending an important email, so I didn't look at the kitchen. But I think it was Gemma. She's just pretending to be your friend." Gemma says, "I went to the toilet to wash my hands. When I returned, the cake was already on the floor." And Rosie says, "I don't know what happened. I went to the opposite side of the room to turn on the coffee machine. I made cappuccino for everyone." Who's lying? coffee machine is off, and all the coffee mugs are empty. Therefore, Rosie lied. She was busy doing something else while Cassie was away. Detective Bold is having lunch at his favorite cafe. He looks through the window and sees his neighbor Zelda rushing home. They both live next to the cafe. Suddenly, Zelda runs back and approaches the detective. Zelda: "Please help me. My apartment was robbed while I was out. I didn't touch anything. I just ran here right away to find you." Detective Bold goes to see the crime scene. He looks around and says, "Stop fooling around, Zelda. There was no robbery." How did he know? Take a look at this umbrella. Zelda carried it with her when she was rushing home, but she told the detective that she didn't touch anything at the crime scene. She just threw her stuff around the room to make it look like a robbery. Take a look at this fancy group of people. One of them is a real vampire. Can you guess who? It's the second guy. The first guy struggles with drinking this reddish beverage. The lady is just wearing a cosplay costume. And the guy on the right is taking a selfie, which means he shows up on camera. Therefore, he's a human being. Jeff calls the police early in the morning. Jeff: "My neighbor cut down a tree on my car." A policeman arrives soon. Policeman: "What happened?" Jeff: "My neighbor and I had a quarrel last night. When I was ready to go to bed, I saw him standing in front of my car. In the morning, I went out to drive to work and saw this. My car is pretty old, but he still has to pay compensation for the damage." The policeman questions Jeff's neighbor. He says, "Jeff is a bit weird. He's always trying to start a quarrel for no reason. I didn't touch the car. I was sleeping all night long." The policeman examines the car and immediately realizes which of the neighbors was lying. Who cut the tree down? Can you guess? Jeff. He cut down the tree with this axe and then tried to put the blame on his neighbor to hit him up for money. Mike is an astronaut. His team consists of 2 other people. They're twins, Rob and Bob. They go to Mars for a month to study the local life forms. Time flies by quickly, and today they have to return to Earth. Mike goes to say hi to his little crew, but he finds 6 identical people in the spaceship. Mike realizes that the Martians can take any shape. Whom should he take back to Earth? This astronaut has 3 fingers. This guy's hair color is different. This imposter has forgotten to put on human ears. And this guy has different eye color. So the real Bob and Rob are over here. What's wrong here? The goalkeeper is holding a tennis racket. Also, why do they need 2 hockey pucks? Shelly downloads a dating app hoping to find new love. She likes several guys. They begin to chat and share some selfies. All 3 guys claim to be single and living alone, but only one of them is telling the truth. Can you guess who? The first guy sent Shelly a selfie from his bathroom. He's wearing a bathrobe, but there's another silk bathrobe hanging in the background. It's pink and small. Why would he need it if he's living alone? And the second guy is obviously fond of jewelry. He's wearing a ring on each finger, including the ring finger. So he's probably married. Only the third guy is telling the truth. And Shelly should give him a chance. A dangerous criminal escapes from prison. The police are chasing him, and the trail leads them into a small village. They question the locals and check the fields. Soon they see a farmer in a cornfield. The detective asks him if he had seen any suspicious strangers around. Farmer: "Sorry, I didn't focus on what's going on around me. I was too busy dealing with my corn. It's getting dark soon, and I need to harvest as soon as possible." The detective immediately figures out that this guy is the wanted runaway criminal. How? Corn is not harvested like this, so he can't be a real farmer. Can you see any odd details here? The phone is unplugged, and the laptop is missing a keyboard. Can you spot anything odd? Take a look at this guy. His fishing style is pretty weird. What about this scene? What are they doing wrong? This lady is skating on the pavement.
Hey, listen up. Today's riddles will help you develop better concentration, boost your analytical skills, and of course, have some fun. Off we go. Can you figure out how to divide a pizza into 8 equal slices using only 3 straight cuts? If you haven't figured out the answer, let me show you. Step 1. Cut the pizza straight down the middle into 2 halves. Step 2. Keeping the 2 halves in place, cut the pizza straight down the middle at right angles to the first cut. You'll be left with 4 equal quarters. Step 3. Pile the 4 quarters on top of each other and cut through the middle of the pie. You'll have 8 equal slices, and depending on the toppings, a really big mess. Now imagine you've got a box with marbles. All but 2 are blue, all but 2 are green, and all but 2 are red. So how many marbles are there in the box? There are just 3 marbles, 1 blue, 1 green, and 1 red. 4 travelers need to cross a bridge at night. Unfortunately, they only have 1 flashlight, and the bridge is too dangerous to cross without one. It's only sturdy enough to support 2 people at a time, and it takes each person a different time to cross the bridge. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 7 minutes, and 10 minutes. So, what's the shortest time all 4 of them need to cross the bridge? It's 17 minutes. Person 1 and Person 2 go first, then Person 1 comes back. Then the person who needs 7 minutes and the one who needs 10 minutes go to the other side, and Person 2 comes back. After that, Person 1 and Person 2 go again, which makes a total of 17 minutes. In this one, there are several 4-legged chairs in a room, as well as a few 3-legged stools. If one person sits on each of the chairs and stools in the room, then there will be 39 legs and feet in the room. How many chairs, stools, and people are there in the room? There are 4 chairs, 3 stools, and 7 people. Now I've got another tricky task for you. Can you continue this sequence? 77, 49, 36, 18. The trick is that each subsequent number is the product of the digits of the previous one, which means that the next number in the series will be 8. A farmer lived in a small village with his 3 sons. One day he gave the guys $100 and told them to go to the market. They were supposed to buy 100 animals for this money. At the market there were chickens, hens, and goats. A goat cost $10, a hen was $5, and the price of a chicken was 50 cents. The farmer also told his sons that there had to be at least 1 animal from each group. The guys had to spend all the money and only on buying animals, and there should be 100 animals, not a single animal more or less. So, what can the sons buy? They should purchase 1 goat for $10, 9 hens for $45, and 90 chickens for $45. Now look at this table. It's missing 2 numbers. Can you figure out what numbers you should use instead of the question marks? The numbers 7 and 0 are missing. Since the table shows the addition of the numbers in this column, 32659 plus 51847 equals 84506. Now, let's check and see if you can figure out this little poem. There is a word and 6 letters it contains. Take one away, and 12 is what remains. What word is it? This is the word dozens. Ooh, that's a sly one. Can you create a number using only the digits 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1? But not everything is so simple. This number should have all 8 digits. You have to make sure that the 1s are separated by 1 digit, the 2s are separated by 2 digits, the 3s are separated by, guess what, 3 digits, and the 4s are separated by you-know-what. This number is 41312432. Wow, that was a tough one. 26 equals 1, 380 equals 3, 244 is 0, and 84 equals 2. What is 288 equivalent to? The answer is 4. The result is equal to the number of circles you need to use to write these numbers. For example, 8 has 2 circles, 0 has 1, and 4 has 0 circles. So 2 equals 0 and 8 equals 2, which means that 288 equals 4. If you're 8 feet away from the door to your house, and with each step you cover half the distance to the door, how many steps will it take you to reach the door? Sad news, you will never reach the door. If you only cover half the distance every time you move, then you will always have half the distance remaining, no matter how small the number is. A single white lily grows on the surface of the pond. This is a rare species that constantly breeds, throwing out more and more new flowers. Thus, every day, the surface area of the lake occupied by flowers doubles. In 1 month, the entire reservoir will be overgrown. How long does it take to fill the entire lake if, initially, there were only 2 flowers? In this case, it will take the same month minus 1 day. O, T, T, F, F, S, S, E. All right, look at this sequence of letters and try to find the logic behind it. What letter should go next in this sequence? It should be the letter N. Those are all the first letters of the numbers spelled in order. O is 1, T is 2, T is 3, F is 4, F is 5, etc., etc. So the correct answer is 9. 3 students who moved in together decided to buy a new teapot that cost $300. They gave $100 each. The seller received $300. But then he found out that the price of the teapot had already decreased. It now cost $250. So he decided to return the extra $50 to the girls. But 50 is not divisible by 3, the salesman thought. He returned $10 to each girl and put the remaining $20 in his pocket. As a result, each girl ended up giving $100 minus 10 equals $90 for the teapot. It means that a total of $90 times 3 equals $270 was given to the seller. Plus, there was $20 in his pocket, which makes $290. Where did the remaining $10 go? The question itself is misleading. You shouldn't add $20 to $270. The $20 in question are already included in this $270. $250 plus 20 equals $270. This is the amount the girls paid. The total amount of money has not changed. $270, the money the seller got, plus $30, the amount the seller returned, equals $300. After the purchase, the money was distributed as follows. The girls, $30. The teapot itself, $250. The dishonest seller, $20, which adds up to the original $300. And the girls never found out. Now, try to think outside the box. How do you divide 188 in half so that you'll get 100? Draw a horizontal line across the middle of this number, dividing 188 in half, and you'll get 100 twice. A smart trader is traveling from one place to another with 3 sacks, each of which contains 30 coconuts. No sack can hold more than 30 coconuts. On the way, the trader passes 30 checkpoints. At each checkpoint, he has to give 1 coconut for every sack he is carrying. So what's the maximum number of coconuts he can have with him at the end of his journey? He will have 25 coconuts with him at the end. You need to take into consideration that the number of sacks decreases as he passes checkpoints. The first 10 checkpoints require 3 coconuts each, which empties the trader's first sack. The second 15 checkpoints require 2 coconuts each, which will empty his second sack. Now he is left with 1 sack and 5 more checkpoints. So the 5 remaining checkpoints will take 1 coconut each. Therefore, he'll be left with 25 coconuts. And I think I'd find another country to sell my coconuts. The taxes here are too high.